Thumbs up, Graves. All right, so I am Josh Nieratko. I am the recruiting operations officer for the ROTC program here at UCSB. I am also the freshman instructor. So I did 20 years as a military policeman, and I retired out of Cal Poly, actually in San Luis Obispo, where I taught the freshman class. And now I'm here at Santa Barbara, and I'm teaching my 11th year here. So I was the instructor for both Lauren and Nikki 4 years ago when they were freshmen, and now they're about to graduate. So they are here to also assist. So the first thing I'm going to do is tell you guys what the ROTC program is. And what it is it's a leadership curriculum that you guys do here on campus that is on top of whatever you're doing in your major coursework. The minimum is 7 hours for a freshman student. 3 of those hours are before school even starts. So we have physical fitness Monday, Wednesday, and hopefully we're going to be moving it back to Thursday. It's from 6:30 to 7:30 in the morning before school even starts. So it doesn't interfere with anything. There's a 1 hour class. Like I said, that class is with me, and we'll talk about it a little bit more later. And then we do a 3 hour leadership lab. It's kind of the cool part. It's where you take what you learn in class. We teach you extra stuff, and you actually go do it. So you're not in a classroom. We're out doing tactical lanes in Elwood and teaching you different things like map reading and land navigation, individual soldier skills, a whole bunch of good stuff. It is practical hands-on. You can look at it as a paid internship because we do the best that we can to try to award students with scholarships. And I'm going to talk about those on the next slide. What I will say about our program is it is truly a team and a family. It is one of the smaller ROTC programs. And because of that, there are a lot of positive that come from that. We get to know every one of you by your first and your last name. You're not part of the crowd. You have constant access to all of us as cadre. And then just the bigger part is being a smaller program, how much they push and drive each other, how much they look out for each other. It is truly like a family. And because of that, we have a very, very successful program. And I'll talk about some of that stuff too. And probably the coolest thing about ROTC, period, is the fact that you can try it. There's no commitment to try it. See if you like it. If you're enjoying it, awesome. Come talk to me about a possible scholarship. We have students, a lot of students that'll do that every year. If you don't like it, no issue, walk away. So it is, I did not get that opportunity. I did not know about ROTC, so I enlisted. And next thing I know, I was on a bus and a plane, and I had a bunch of guys with brown hats yelling at me. So it's definitely pretty awesome that you can try it first. So for scholarships, the only 4 year scholarship opportunities we have is through a high school board, and that is already completed. And for incoming students, it's just not an option at this point. So really, it's a 3 year scholarship that's offered. It is possible to apply for that 3 year scholarship before you even start as a freshman here on campus. It just won't start until your second year. Or, like I said, there's no commitment to try the program, see if you like it, and then apply for a scholarship throughout the year and possibly get a 3 year scholarship anyways. I've given out a few of those already this year. And in fact, just today, I upgraded 10 of our students from a 2 or a 3 year scholarship to a 2.5 and a 3.5 year scholarship. So there's definitely opportunities there. The scholarship pays either full tuition directly to the school. You never even see the money. Doesn't matter whether you're in state or out of state. Or if you are not paying full tuition, if you have GI benefits from your parents, if you have grants or other scholarships or whatever, and you're not paying full scholarship for full tuition, you choose room and board, and it's $12,000 a year that goes straight into your bank account, $4,000 per quarter. In addition, you get $1,200 a year for books, $400 every quarter, and every month that you're physically in school, you also get a stipend of $420. And so now we'll kind of go into our program specifically. And this is the stuff we're going to talk about. We'll talk about mentorship, PT, the classroom, lab, and the FTXs that we do. Cadet Lounge is pretty nice. Extracurriculars and other opportunities that you have. So our mentorship program, every student in our program is assigned a 4th year student as a mentor. I've seen it at other programs, specifically at Cal Poly, that a second year student mentored a first year student, a third year, a second year. That just doesn't make a lot of sense because the second year student doesn't know a ton more than you do. And so we have every student, a fourth year student has a third year student, one or two second year students, and one or two first year students. They have done everything in the program, almost everything on campus. It's the perfect person to be able to guide you in whatever kind of issues that you have. And it does, it gives you kind of the big brother, big sister to go to in the program. And then that group as a whole gives you another little support group within the program. So physical fitness, everybody has to take the Army fitness test. It's 5 different challenges that you face, and everything we do at physical fitness is geared to make you better at that test. We do fun stuff. We will be down on the beach. We do bring a friend to PT days. We do Halloween where everybody dresses up. We do a lot of road marches to get you used to traveling a bit with some weight on your back. But it's a good time. It also helps with your stress levels on campus. It helps with your time management if you use it wisely. So it's a good deal. Classroom instruction, I think you'll learn about goal setting and time management. You'll learn about tactics. You'll learn a lot about leadership. The cool part about being here at UCSB is we're on the quarter system. Under the quarter system, or cadet command is on the semester system. They don't give me enough classes to cover the quarter system. So it allows me to give you additional classes, additional training opportunities. So hopefully I can make you smarter than the rest of the cadets in cadet command. That's kind of my goal. So our leadership labs and our field training exercises. The leadership labs in the field and the spring field training exercise are geared to prepare our third year students to go to advanced camp after their third year in the program. That is the only mandatory training during the summer. And so everything we do is a lot of tactical lanes to help prepare them leadership wise and tactically to be successful at that. We also do the fun field training exercise in the fall. That's where you're going to get a rappel. Hopefully, we get back to doing the high ropes course that you see the picture on the left there. You get a rappel, you go to a range, you do land navigation, you do obstacle courses. It's a pretty good time. Or extracurriculars, I'm amazed at the amount of things that our cadets in this program do. They amaze me every day. Our Ranger Challenge team, that's where you can kind of look at it as the varsity sport of ROTC, I guess I would say. We compete with all of the other schools within California. Hawaii is there. This year, I believe, Nikki, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there was 35 different teams.
Close to like 40, sir.
It's close to 40. In the past 4 years, we have come in first, third, first, and second. And again, I contribute that back to the smaller program and how much they push each other, care for each other, take care of each other. It's pretty awesome. So last year, we were the first UC to go to Sandhurst at West Point. And this year, we will obviously be the first team that goes back to Sandhurst to compete in the Ranger Challenge competition. Nikki was the captain last year. Lauren was on the team when she was a freshman. It's a 2-day, pretty grueling competition, but our cadets are pretty successful, as you can tell. We do the Baton Memorial Death March. So we send teams to White Sands, New Mexico to do the 26-mile marathon. But we also have students that train for it and do it here virtually in Santa Barbara. We have a color guard team. So obviously with the flags, ACFT is no longer a thing, it's AFT now, but the AFT club to help you get better at fitness so that you can improve on the fitness test. Empowering leaders of the future is they do blocks of instruction on leadership. They have guest speakers. I've actually been a guest speaker in there twice so far this year. I'm talking different things as far as soldier issues, talking things like what do soldiers go through in basic training, because I've obviously been to basic training, but I don't think you can see it, but I have the brown hat. I used to be a drill sergeant, so I definitely helped facilitate basic training too. Tactics Club to help you get better tactically, and then committees that help run the program. Community outreach deals with things in the community, alumni, fundraising, all kind of things like that. They also have guest speakers. Military ball, we have a military ball every year where we get dressed up, go have a nice dinner. We get each class gets to make fun of each other, and they also make fun of the cadre. So it's a really good time. And then media and design, where they actually design a bunch of swag, sweatshirts, hoodies, hats, things like that. So that's a bunch of stuff that you can get involved in. It's completely up to you whether you want to or not. Different training opportunities you have during the summer. So Lauren has been to both airborne and air assault. Nikki's been to air assault, so rappelling out of helicopters. There's mountain warfare opportunities, combat diving. We have a cadet going to sapper school this year, which is a very elite engineering school. So there's different opportunities. CTLT is usually after your third year. You go and you shadow a lieutenant somewhere. And that way, you can decide if that's the job you want to do in the Army. And then there's a lot of different internships, whether it be medical. I know we sent a student to go do a NASA one. Lauren did forensics. There's a lot of different things you can do. And when those opportunities become available, we pass them to you guys so that you can apply. So the commitment after you graduate, you have three options. You can either choose active duty service, which is full-time, that's your job. And if you choose that and you have a scholarship, it's a 4-year commitment. If you don't have a scholarship, it's only a 3-year commitment. Every contract with the military period is an 8-year commitment, but it depends how you serve it. So if you choose active duty, you only have to do 4 years full-time. The other 4 you can do in the National Guard, you can do in the reserves, you can do in what's called the inactive ready reserve, which basically means you're out of the Army. You don't report to anybody. The only time they would ever contact you and bring you back is for World War III or like the zombie apocalypse or some crap like that. Otherwise, you're out of the Army. Or if you just decide to go in the reserves of the National Guard, it's an 8-year commitment because you're only doing part-time. You're doing 1 week in a month, 2 weeks during the summer. 8 years of that is not even a full year of actual duty time. And then your other option is an education delay. And you make these decisions at the end of your 3rd year, beginning of your 4th year. For education delay, it has to be either for medical, which includes veterinarian, dental. There's a ton of jobs within the medical service corps. A law degree, so going to be a chaplain as another option. It has to be within one of those 3 realms. If you want to go to graduate school outside of that, I tell most students just choose the reserve or the National Guard, do the part-time service, and actually continue to go to school. What questions do you guys have? I'm going to stop. Well, I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to put in the chat my contact information. What questions do you guys have? Feel free to speak up. Feel free to put it in the chat. Whatever. We are here to totally help.
I see we have one in the Q&A section, and is there an Air Force option?
So there is an Air Force option for ROTC at UCSB, but here is the way that works. And this is just my understanding. I don't know everything about the program, but we have had students that have tried it. In fact, 2 of them just graduated from our program last year. You have to commute to UCLA every Friday for the entire day. And the problem that I personally see with that, and obviously Nikki and Lauren can chime in, but Friday is your light days for classes. that is time where you can do schoolwork, catch up on stuff. And if you're spending your entire day at LA, uh, you're not going to be able to do that. That's one. And my other thought on it is you do not become a part of that community if you're there once a week. Whereas in our program, you are engulfed in the community of cadets as much as you want to be. And I think that's a large part of being in an ROTC program.
Thank you. And for our next question, we have, are there ROTC cadets that do simultaneous membership program?
Yes, absolutely. But what I would tell you is you could totally do that, and that's great. But if you're looking to get a scholarship, you have one of two options. One is we link that scholarship to the National Guard or the Reserve. And when you graduate, you have to go in the National Guard or Reserve. There is no active duty option. The other option is get released from the Guard or the Reserve to do ROTC. But there is a third option. I'm sorry. If you choose a non-scholarship route, obviously that's not ideal, but if you choose a non-scholarship route, at the end of your third year, beginning of your fourth year, you can compete for active duty.
Awesome. And then we have another question in the Q&A section, and it says, what advice would you give to someone who is interested in ROTC but has no experience?
All right, so I will let Lauren speak in just a minute. I'm just going to say something real quick. There is no experience needed. We are here to give it to you. And so I will let Lauren or Nikki, both of you guys, they have done it. I don't know that they did. Nikki, you might have done JROTC, but I don't think Lauren did. Yeah, you need no experience, but I will let them talk on it.
Yeah. Hi all for those listening. My name's Lauren Graves. I'm a fourth year. I'm a psych major. I'm actually branching aviation, so I'll be flying for the Army. Biggest advice I can give to y'all. I came in, I played soccer my whole life, so I was pretty athletic. But other than that, I had no like family in the military. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I kind of joined the program and was like, oh, like what does this have to offer? I started off pretty strong. I invested myself in pretty much everything we had. I overloaded myself, got burnt out a little bit, but once I like kind of backed off, got my grades back up, it helps develop a sense of time management. You have discipline, you have a schedule. That's probably the best way that you can like implement yourself into college. As someone who's very dependent on their family and having people support them throughout high school and stuff, coming here like just myself, I was pretty scared. And so having Mr. Nieratko, for example, like I could come with him and be like, hey, like I need help with this. And he was there no matter what, open door policy. And I got to meet so many people before I even came to college. So in the summer, if you guys have a chance to do it, freshman summer start program, it's a great opportunity. You should definitely do that. I got interested, talked to Mr. Nieratko, and pretty much was invested in the program before school even started. So having your own little community within ROTC, you'll see people around campus and you'll start saying hi, you'll create a conversation. People are like, how do you know everybody? You're like, well, I'm an ROTC, like everyone just knows everyone. So it's a pretty good time. Highly recommend, even if you're like the smallest bit interested, try it out. It doesn't really hurt. You can always leave at any time if you want.
And don't let her kid you. See, she's been bringing her problems to me for 4 years now.
I'm the worst. It's okay.
And another thing too that's pretty cool is the day before school starts. I don't know why UCSB starts on a Thursday. I have no idea, but we have a barbecue that Wednesday, and so like your initiation on campus, you automatically have like 70 friends, even if you're just trying the program. So it's a pretty good deal. I don't know, Nikki, did you want to chime in at all?
I just want to say I didn't have any prior experience either. I was an EMT for a little bit, but that's kind of it. I had no like formal military training. You can just come try it out. Everyone's super welcoming. And yeah.
And I'm switching gears on MCs. So my colleague Eureka was here and providing some Q&A MC support. And so, hi, everyone. Since you haven't seen my face yet, my name is Javon Arias Edwards. I'm the Associate Director of School Services within the Office of Admissions at UC Santa Barbara. So I'm going to continue on with the Q&A for our wonderful panelists who have done such a great job thus far. And it's pertaining to money, scholarships. Are scholarships guaranteed for those in ROTC? Josh, can you talk to that a little bit?
So one, I will never guarantee a scholarship. I will never guarantee a scholarship. What I will guarantee you is that I bust my butt to get scholarships. And like I talked about, I just got 10 half-year upgrades today. So I do everything I can for our students to make sure that you're taken care of. I will not ever guarantee anything, except that I will work as hard as possible to get stuff for you. Because the way I look at things, I'm retired military. So I already have that income and whatever. And to me, doing this job is awesome. But I would not be here if we did not have cadets. So the way I look at it is I should do everything that I possibly can for our students. And so that's what I do.
Well said, well said. So scholarships available, not guarantee, never a guarantee. But as Josh mentioned, he's going to advocate for all of the ROTC members to get some aid, potentially. All right. Now, another question has popped up, and this question is pertaining to kind of that work-life balance to extent. So, how many hours per week on average during school year and summer? And I'm thinking the students asking to like the balance of ROTC in addition to academics, in addition to maybe social life. Can you expand on what that breakdown looks like, Lauren and Nikki, on how you're balancing all the things? Who wants to
Yeah,
go first?
I'll start it off.
Perfect.
Great question. Honestly, that was like my biggest thing that I had to figure out when I joined the program. Obviously, the minimum to do is 7 hours a week. So you'll have the 3 days of PT, Monday, Wednesday, and hopefully Thursday. And then you have your 3 hour lab and then your 1 hour for your MS class. Best thing about MS class is you get an actual like UCSB credit unit. So it's a pretty easy GPA boost on that one. You kind of show up, learn about leadership skills, and you kind of leave the class from there. But overall, with everything else, let's see, I'm trying to think of what I do outside of this. So I joined a bunch of the programs within ROTC. So you can join up to as many, like as little to none, to as most of all of them. It's just you kind of figuring out, hey, how do I want to balance my time? What do I want to do with my time? Right now I work at Big Five as well on the weekends. So you can totally get a job while doing ROTC and school. So it's really just depends on what you want to do, what you want to get out of one, this program, two, out of your school at UCSB. There's a bunch of on-campus options. I know a bunch of people who are in sororities, fraternities that are also in ROTC. So if that's something you're looking for, like that Greek life, definitely go for it. Like it'll help you in the long run as well. And then social life, like again, UCSB, like everyone's like, oh my gosh, party school. You can totally go out on the weekends if you want. You can totally stay in. Like I'm someone who I go to bed early, but sometimes I'm like, hey, yeah, I want to go out with my friends. Like there is such a balance. It really just like it's so dependent on you and how well you're able to manage your time. The only restriction kind of is like the 10-week period of classes. It's pretty rough. You'll kind of show up to a class. First week, you're starting on everything. Within week 3, you already have a midterm. So right now we're at week 3. I know people who have midterms this week and following on to next week. So it's kind of just a very fast pace school in general, but ROTC is very lenient. Obviously, we want you to take it seriously. However, if school comes up, like you're definitely able to, get excused from a PT or get excused from a lab, if you need extra study time for PT or anything like that.
Nikki, did you want to add to that question?
She hit it. I was just gonna say the minimum time required, like it's not really a lie. You had no slides earlier, it's just 7 hours. You have 3 hours of PT, 3 hours of lab, 1 hour of class. You could put as much time as possible as you want. Like talked about Rated Challenge earlier. If you want to do more, RC is a great way to do that. You work out in the morning every time you go to competitions, they take up a weekend. But yeah, Grace hit a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, we even have a D1 track athlete in our program. So, I mean, it's definitely possible to do whatever you want to do. It's up to you to manage your time, and we try to help you with that.
All right, so it looks like there was a question that was asked earlier, and this question is from one of the attendees, Kevin. And the question originally asked that you all spoke to is, are there ROTC candidates that do simultaneous membership programs? And so the follow-up question to that, and they're giving more context, is that in July they're being sent to boot camp and AIT training, but they'll be back in January 26th, which is problematic for the start time of UC Santa Barbara. Their question is on deferrals, which I'm happy to speak on for admissions. But Josh, is there anything else you might want to add before I dive into the admissions and the deferral process?
The only thing I would add, and your recruiter won't like me, is you have not shipped the basic training yet. You do not have to enlist if you don't want to. If you would rather attend college, participate in ROTC, and possibly go this route.
Yeah.
It's way easier to start day one here. Basic training, yes, AIT will give you a leg up, but it's way easier to start day one here. You, your recruiter won't like me, and that's fine. I actually had a recruiter call me one time because I told a student that, and then I explained the benefits of an ROTC scholarship.
Yeah.
And he said, I totally get it. And then he ended up calling me back like a few months later to talk about scholarships for his daughter. So you do not have to enlist. It's up to you if you would rather start your school on time with everybody else and become a part of this. See if this is for you. If you want to enlist later, you can. You can still do SMP later. You don't, and once you start into ROTC, you're probably not even going to have to go to basic training.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And speaking more broadly, for anybody that has questions about the deferral process for UCSB admissions, I'm going to ask that you email admissions@ucsb.edu. Deferral requests are indeed just a request. And so those are typically granted. Yes, if you are currently serving in the military and you need a deferral for your start date and or attending basic training, what have you, that deferral is typically granted for 1 quarter. So it's not necessarily something that would be for the full year. If you have questions on it, email admissions. We will walk you through the process of what that request actually looks like. All right. This question is pertaining to academic disciplines. And so this admitted student is coming in a STEM-based major. So physics, mathematics. Are there going to be career opportunities available in the Army? And does ROTC have career services that can connect students with those opportunities, networking, what have you, internships?
So yes, yes, and yes. There are absolutely STEM opportunities in the Army. We have engineering, we have cyber, we have military intelligence, we have the Signal Corps, which is everything to do with technology. It for one, let me just say real quick, what your major is does not matter as far as ROTC goes. But to get into those majors, there are definitely opportunities in the Army. So absolutely. Can you network? Absolutely. What I try to do is, especially as students are becoming third year students and they're trying to really figure out what they want to do. Like I said, I've been here for over 10 years. I link them with prior cadets who have served for 4 years, 8 years, nonstop in the job fields that they're looking for. And if I don't know a cadet that's done it, I probably know somebody in the Army that has, or one of the rest of our cadre have. So we can definitely link you with that to get started.
Awesome. Great response. And again, the network is there. And so I see that Nikki's maybe starting to type this answer, and maybe it might be helpful to just verbalize it. I don't know, up to you. But the question is, what can I do over the summer to prepare myself physically for ROTC? And I feel like we touched on this. We're not any experience really needed. What about the physical gains? Do you need that for ROTC?
Yeah, I
What
was
I would urge you to do, to be honest, and obviously they can speak on it, but I think one of the best things for the Army fitness test that we have now is CrossFit.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna go ahead and say, like, I mean, if you're already doing sports or you're already working out, just keep doing what you're doing. You're probably already meeting the Army standards. If not, if you're just getting into it, like, it doesn't hurt to just start running, do a jog a week, 2 and 3 miles, like, just keep building on that. Bodyweight workouts, push-ups, sit-ups are a lot of the Army fitness tests. The most important thing I would say is just stay consistent, because consistency to fitness is probably the key. So if you're working out for a week, do the same thing next week. Don't kill yourself, don't get too sore, but as long as you stay consistent, you'll be ready.
Absolutely. All right. Lauren, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, one of the
Yeah.
biggest things is people are like, oh, like I'm gonna work out and be really hard at 5 days a week, like all this stuff. Like, take care of your bodies. That's probably the biggest thing. I mean, personally, I don't do that. I definitely should start taking care of my body. I got injured my freshman year. I hurt my knee from rucking too much, just overuse. So, be learning those habits now, stretching before and after workouts. Doing mobility is huge, hip mobility. That'll all help you in the end with like the O course. Because if you're not that flexible, it's pretty hard. Your legs will cramp up, but things happen like that. So just stay agile, run, play a sport, just go bike, just do something that's outside realistically.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say freshman 15 is a real thing, so nutrition can also be something to consider within that. So we are coming down to the last few questions, which, yay, panelists, you have been doing amazing. Thank you so much. This question is slightly complex, and I might direct it to Josh, pertaining to kind of residency, right? So this student is saying that they're an international student from South Korea. Hello. They do have U.S. citizenship, and they plan to participate in the ROTC program for 4 years and serve in the U.S. Army. They got waitlisted currently, and I cross fingers for you that you do receive an admission decision, but stay tuned. That'll happen hopefully after May 1st. Their question is, if they get released from the wait list, will they be safe to register for ROTC and any available military scholarships, if that's an option?
So scholarships and first of all, anybody can do ROTC for their first 2 years. Anybody. It doesn't, you can be a green card holder, not a green card holder, anybody can do it. The key to ROTC is two things. One, if you want a scholarship, you have to be a US citizen. And two, to enter the third year of the program, you have to be a US citizen. So you can continue in the program with no scholarship if you're not a citizen and trying to get citizenship. But by the time you enter the third year, you have to be a US citizen. If you get it earlier, then you can apply for scholarships. But I cannot apply for a scholarship without citizenship.
Perfect. Thank you so much for adding to that. And I know that might be a question for some of our students that might be international currently, but are seeking residency and or citizenship. So with that, it looks like we answered all the questions, which it was a good amount of questions. Thank you so much, Lauren, Nikki, and Josh. One of the questions was, how can students stay in contact with the ROTC Surfrider Battalion? And Lauren, I know you shared your contact information, and you shared it to hosts and panelists, but before you put it out into the universe, I want to check in. What is the best contact in general for ROTC and the Surfrider Battalion?
It is me. If you could share my contact information, Javon, it is me because everything to enroll and start the program goes through me.
Perfect. And just for the recording piece, Josh, do you want to verbalize your email? I don't have it memorized.
Yeah, so it's J Nieratko, so J and then my last name at ucsb.edu.
Perfect, perfect. All right, my friends. It looks like, oh, you want my contact too. I'm happy to share my contact information. It's my first name, Jevon dot Edwards, EDWA RDS at sa.ucsb.edu. You can find me online also. It's easily accessible. Meet your counselor webpage on UCSB admissions, and you will find my contact information. Of course, always email admissions@ucsb.edu for just general information, but you're more than welcome to reach out to me too. All right, with
And
that being, oh, go
additionally,
ahead,
Javon,
Josh. Yeah,
if I can real quick,
sure.
if you also Google UCSB ROTC, it'll pull up our webpage that is a UCSB webpage. And on there, if any email you send to that goes to me as well.
Perfect, perfect. So it looks like we've got all of the information needed. We have contact information, and it was in a successful Q&A. Thank you all so much, my panelists. Again, Lauren, Nikki, and Josh, we can't thank you enough for answering all of those questions. Until next time, everyone, I appreciate you all. Have a good rest of your evening, wherever you might be. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Javon.
Thank you.